that what we have learned and what we are going to learn would be thoroughly implemented in our classes so that the benefit reaches our kids. So without wasting time, I would like to invite Father Daniel, who is the principal of MGM English School, Raukala, to offer welcome. Father Daniel.
Yes, good morning to all of you.
Good morning,
Most
Father.
Reverend Priest, Dr. Joseph Mark Dionysius, the Manager Bishop of MGM Group of Institutions, respected resource person Mrs. Rajeshri Mohan, Reverend Father Dr. Joshi Varghese, the Education Officer, Reverend Fathers, Sisters, Principals, and all participant teachers. We do appreciate the vision, mission, and outlook of the MGM management to uplift the society through education and social activities. The efforts taken by the manager bishop and the education officer is highly remarkable. The 4 days program scheduled for the progress and development of the pre-primary schools of the MGM management is covering the academics, the maintenance of relationships between school and parents and teachers and students. Mrs. Rajeshri Mohan, a great mentor, high thinker and highly efficient to motivate the teachers and talented to communicate well. I am sure that today's presentation also will be highly beneficial to the teachers. On behalf of the Manager Bishop, His Grace, Reverend Father Dr. Joshi Varghese, the DEO, all office bearers of MGM Group of Institutions, and all schools under the MGM management. I welcome Mrs. P. Rajeshwari Mogan, the eminent personality of the day. Madam, please.
Thank you so much, Father, for the great introduction, and I'm really honored. And thank you so much for your blessing, Father. And very happy to see you all again this happy morning, and wishing you most and more with all good things around you. So, with a good note and with the positive blessings, whatever Father has blessed me, let me start the session for the day. Dear educators, like the 3 days of the reflections, whatever I have gone through, it was really amazing. It was a wonderful document that you people have listed out, and it is going to be a wonderful resource. The reason is we have something to recollect again and again. We have something to revise so that we will put it in action. That's what is the report is talking all about. So wonderful, dear educators, that the amount of efforts you have put in to recollect and to pen down all the points, whatever you have listened, you have learned, you have understood. So that's a good sign, which I feel. Coming back to the session today, let's talk about the that is the a little bit of the math activities, because yesterday, I'm sorry, I could not cover the math portions. So a little bit of, because see, everyone today I'm not going to talk about the multiple techniques, but at least what are the basic elements that we can consider, or we have to follow, so that the learners are gaining some sort of a logical understanding, and they will because most of the children in the middle school or in the high school, they have the math phobia. Might be, including me, might be, I'm really no, I cannot take numbers in my mind. So it's because might be my early years, my pre-primary teachers might be like the fear of the logics which I was not able to take in. Might be my learning style did not match to the teacher's teaching style. So it happens to many of us that we have the math phobia. The reason is might be the early years where many of us were not taking, that is, we're not adopting the logics what our teachers were teaching. And yeah, today let's not create one more generation to get that math phobia. So with little bit of research what we have done, and with bit of reflections whatever we have seen in many of our observations, the basic thing what many of the pre-primary teachers miss is introducing the math concepts in a sequential order, right? Rather than entering into the direct number concepts, how effectively the teacher has to give the, what you call, a proper introduction of the number concept is very important. It means for a math as a subject, we need to ensure that the pre-math concepts is introduced first, making that learners, all our learners, being familiar with the pre-math concepts. Now, coming back to the question, what is pre-math concepts? Yes, the observation the learners have to start with regard to the environment, the objects, whatever they see, they have to relate, they have to compare, they have to contrast. They need to know how many objects are big, how many objects are small. So if they need to compare how many, it means they need to know which is. So it means we need to ensure that all the pre-math concepts which are available in your own course book, like same, different, big, small, more, few, less, few, many. So make sure that all these concepts are properly transacted using the real objects around. Show them the concrete examples. See, today it is okay, we educators sometimes make grammatical errors, sometimes our language might not be so strong to face the camera. It is okay, but please don't don't give any wrong concepts or wrong examples for the selected concepts. So that is not permissible, because 1,000 eyes are watching today. And definitely your small video session or your small conceptual video or the teaching session will reach many people. So let the community not comment on your content, rather let them compliment you with your examples. So make sure that your content is so well transacted when it is the conceptual transaction. So make sure that every element, whatever you try to deliver or whatever you try to transact in front of the video, make sure that you keep all the resources ready. Make sure that your content, that is the content related objects, content related teaching aids, content related manipulatives are ready, so that your transaction is given properly. Thereby the child is able to gain the transformation for that particular concept. So every concept need to be transformed so well. So for that to happen, what best exercises we can do? The simple thing is use the real objects for the pre-math concepts. Like, say for example, if I any math operations at the pre-primary level will start with the basic common concept of same and different. So now yes, now just imagine this is a pre-primary class and the teacher is just introducing the concept same and different. Now just imagine I'm going to treat you all as a pre-primary kids, and I'm just going to ask you certain questions related to the concept same and different. Now yeah, now children, can you see something here? Yeah, these are sketch pens. Now how are they looking? Are they looking same or different? Definitely the kids will be coming out with some, yes, they are same, they are different. Now you can ask, why are they different? Might be they are colors. Now there are two pens that are looking same. Now what are they? What color is that? Now why are they same? Because the color is same. Why are these sketch pens are looking different? Because the color is not same. They are having the different colors. Okay. Now coming back to another thing. Now tell me, are these same? No, one is different. So it means making the learners to what do you call know the concept well. So likewise, you can start asking the questions related to the real objects. Inquire the learners. Now come on, go search any two same objects that are available at your surroundings. Now can you come and show me now? During your normal video sessions, make sure that you are asking, inquiring, or you are allowing the child to pick up the objects which are related to the concepts you are dealing with. Now show me one big object that is right in front of you. Show me one small object if you feel that that is right in front of you. So make the learners to match to the real life experience. That's very important, rather than just limiting with the textbooks. So because textbooks are the examples for the teacher to understand what is a course sequence, but please don't restrict your conversation or restrict your content within the book itself. Please allow the learners to explore the so it means you need to make sure that your introduction or your beginning session should be more to the real life situation. So that is based on the pre-math concepts. Now now coming back to the concepts like the that is the number readiness. Now please make sure that you connect the pre-math concepts with the number concepts. Like say for example, if you are introducing the number 1, now the symbol is just which is an abstract. Now if I'm introducing number 1, right, so this is an abstract concept which doesn't have meaning until unless you show the quantity behind this number, right? So it means make sure that you start the number concept with the pre-math concepts of now say for example, if it might be this box is full and this box is empty with which has nothing. This box is empty which has nothing, and this box is full. Now what should I do to make it full? Now I have to put something inside. So how many objects did I keep inside? Now only one. Likewise, make sure that your introduction is proper, connecting with the pre-math concepts. Now after that, how many objects did I place there? Just only one. Now show me one object that is there in your body part. Now think about the body part which is having only one now. Yes, the nose. And so make the learners to it means make the learners to observe, make the learners to connect, make the learners to relate. Now I have one neck, one head, one stomach. So let the learner make sure that they are relating to the self. And can you find the object which is just one in number around your surrounding? So make the connection between the number with the real life object so that the child is knowing the counting of things. And one more thing is till 10 numbers, everyone are really strong in teaching. 1, 1, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 1 is 3, 3 and 1 is 4. So we are trying to know. And 9 and 1 is 110. Now 110 and 1 is 11. Instead of teaching 1, 1, 11. See, most of the time we are trying to teach 1, 1, 11, 1, 2, 12. So, but the problem is most of the children, they are born with the right brain dominant. The normal born babies are the left brain dominant. Those children who are the left-handers, they are born right brain dominant people. So it means definitely they will have a mirror image problem, or those who are not even the left-handers, but they are born that is right brain dominant. So it means they always have a confusion between left and the right, or they always start something from the left and then to the right. So when you teach 1, 1, 11, 1 to 12, those numbers which are 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, they don't have the problem. But whenever you teach 1, 2, 12, 1, 3, 13, they have a problem of writing 1, 2. So it means they will start from the other side. So for them, they are right, but for us, it is the other number. So instead of giving this confusion, always make sure that we are trying to introduce the tens and the ones properly. So 1 10 and 1 is 11. 1 10 and 2 is 12. 1 10 and 3 is 13. Let the child learn the proper construction of numbers through the teacher's proper sequential, so that the learners are able to know. If I talk about the number 40 sequence, now let the learners know 4 tens and 1 ones are 41. 4 tens, how many blocks are there? How many tens blocks are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tens, they are in the fourth tens house. So 4 tens and 1 ones are 41. 4 tens and 2 ones are 42. So it means they are aware of the a number concept using the quantity. So that's how we have to make sure that the number introduction are properly stimulated for the learners using the quantity. So always ensure that we are trying to give the quantity related number concept rather than just making the learners to rote memorize the numbers from n numbers. Like there are teachers who just focus on rote memory, where they will make the learners to just practice numbers as much. So that's the reason there is no consistency between the campuses. Like few campus, they go till 1,000, 2,000 also for the UKG. But I don't think that is all needed. Rather than the child is equipped with 1 to 100 properly with the quantity. And between 0 to 10, how effectively the child is able to know all the math operations. Now today, most of the pre-primary kids who move to the primary class, tell me honestly, how many of the learners are aware of the quantity behind the two numbers, like given two numbers. Say for example, now for the numbers, if I ask the child, now tell me the numbers which is smaller and which is bigger between these two numbers. Now 3 and 8. 3 and 8, which is a smaller number. Now the child is not quickly able to judge unless there is some. So it means somewhere we are missing the connection. So make the child say we are just using the term ascending order, descending order, greater than, lesser than. So to make those concepts thorough, first and foremost thing is, please help the child to know which number is big and which number is small. And why it is called big? Because the quantity is little, quantity is little more or little extra or little added for this number. Why this number is less? Because the quantity is less here. So let the child know that the quantity is important rather than rather than making the learners to just get confused with the terms ascending, descending, greater than, less than, equal to. See, ascending order, descending order, greater than, less than, all these concepts are the third stage of the program. The first stage should be just the number concept with the quantity. Help the child to know which is the smallest number out of the given number, which is the biggest number out of the given number. So it means, as much as possible, please thorough all your learners the numbers between 0 to 10. Give them as much of examples as possible so that the learners are thorough in that sequence. and then use the number lines. Make sure that you are every time using the number lines to teach them before, in between, and after number. Now, why is the number, what is the number that comes before this number? The number which is lesser than this number is the before number. It means the child need to know the sequence. So teach them the forward counting, backward counting properly. So rather than making them to rote memorize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't just make them to rote memorize. Even allow them to know why it is forward, because the number keeps the number keeps increasing. Why it is backward? Because the number keeps decreasing. So let them know all these sequence properly. So these logics are very important. Otherwise, children are just mechanically made to learn the concepts without any definitions, and thereby they are losing their interest when they go to the higher classes. So that's the reason all your learners are not thorough in math operations. All your learners are not enjoying. Only those children who have the logical intelligence right from the birth are able to get along with get along with these operations, because their intelligence is, the dominant intelligence is logical. So that's the reason only few are becoming the high achievers in the class, and few are not able to cope up. The reason is the teacher's scaffolding method, the teacher's hand-holding system is not most of the time for most of the learners here. So make sure that we are supporting our learners with the proper stimulated examples, proper constructions, proper demonstrations, so that the child is not. So please do not be in a hurry to complete the portions. Please make sure that your learners are complete, are thorough in the complete understanding. Let your learners explore the maximum. Between 1 to 10, you can have almost 100 type of activities, right? 100 type of examples. So make sure that you are giving as much of scope as possible, so that the child is developing that interest of the math operations, right? And slowly take the child to the addition concepts of addition concepts, which the child can be thorough using the objects, or using the number lines, or using the finger countings. So teach them the multiple techniques of knowing the math operations. And one more important thing is, by the end of the upper primary, ensure that all your learners are knowing the object pair addition. Now, what do you mean by object pair addition? Now, allowing the child to, now say for example, 1 plus 0 is 10, sorry, 10 plus 0 is 10, 9 plus 1 is 10, 8 plus 2 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10. So make sure that the child is getting the rhythm of knowing the base number. So the base number can be 10, and what are the different combinations that child can bring in to make the base number. So likewise, you can make you can select any number right from 10, then 9. Now, how can the child get the base number 9? With how many combinations? So make sure that the number pair additions are being trained properly to all your learners. Let them enjoy that counting habit, so that they will be fast, quick in knowing the logics behind. So invest quality time to all your learners and make them to enjoy the math concepts. Do not give that phobia of, come on, do it. So, and one more thing is how effectively we are applying differentiation. So it means differentiation in the form of hand-holding the learners. There are few learners, as I said, right from the birth, they must be having the logical intelligence. So their acceptance capability is really strong. So you need not worry about those learners, because they are already logical. But please take care of the learners who are not logical. It means you need to scaffold them. It means you need to give the different varieties. It means use the WAC method, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. to ensure that the learners have the hands-on experience for every object every number you teach, every concept you teach. So give them the real objects scope, so that the child is trying to connect with the concepts clearly using the. So along with your demonstration, let the child, the other side, work along with you, so that that scaffolding or hand-holding method will help the child to develop that interest and understanding for the concepts you're dealing with. Yep. So coming back to the story session. Now, why story? What is the reason of the story sessions that we need to incorporate in our pre-primary class? Do you think story session is going to give some sort of what do you call, some sort of an interest, or it is going to be a pressure for the child, or it is going to give them some sort of a benefit? What is the reason? The story session is something which is going to help the learners in three ways. One is, see, the average attention span of the pre-primary learners or the learner group whom we are targeting will have only 2 minutes of their attention span. It is not more than that. That's the quality they have. So for the learners who doesn't have the maximum attention span, through a storytelling session, we are going to help the learner to improve their attention span by allowing them, or by making them, or to help them to get engaged with the storytelling session for more than 5 minutes or more than 10 minutes. So gradually the attention span will increase through a storytelling session tool, right? Because when they go to the primary class, definitely every session is going to happen for 40 minutes. So if the child is not trained in the pre-primary class with the improved attention span, then it will be really challenging for the child to sit for 40 minutes and listen to the lecture what the teacher is giving, and they will not concentrate at all. So make sure that all your learners are given scope for the improved attention span, and that will take place through the storytelling session. This is one reason. The second reason is, yes, every story will have a problem and there will be a solution. Yeah. So these storytelling sessions is going to help the learners to think for the problem and what could be the solution. And if at all, if the learners are going to face some similar type of problems, they could find the solution also. So that is the reason the storytelling session is also a tool for problem solving tech. And third important thing is, very important thing is, a storytelling session is going to help the learners to develop imagination, because the story comes up with different vocabularies. The object, that is, first and foremost thing is, there is a character related words, then there is an object related word, situations related word, place related word, time related word, action related words, and position related words. There are 7 types of words, right? So make sure that all these type of words are completely given scope for the learners to what do you call address or to relate, so that the child is given scope for the imagination when the teacher is trying to narrate the story. Thereby the child start imagining. So the moment you start introducing those vocabularies in the form of real objects, or by showing some picture cards, or by helping the learners to understand the vocabulary through your proper stimulated examples, the child will now start connecting the moment you start narrating the story. So it is very, very important that we address these 7 types of words. I repeat again: the character related words, place related words, time related words, action related words, position related words, situation related words, and the place related words, right? So please make sure that we as teachers, first of all, understand the story in our local language. Let our brain understand the story in our local language. And the moment the child is trying to, that is the moment the child is trying to relate, or the moment the child is trying to relate these vocabularies in the real time situation, then comes the actual, what do you call, the essence of the storytelling, right? Yes, I will repeat it again. The character related words, place related words, position related words, situations related words, action related words, time related words, and m- uh, the situation, yeah, the situation related words. So these 7 words should be introduced. So it means the moment the teacher reads the story, the teacher will understand, yes, these are the types of words my learners will not know. So select the words which the child at within the age group, that they feel that these words which are given in the text will not be known to the child. So ensure that we pick up those words. Definitely the character related words will be picked up in the story, and then just choose the type of words you feel that the child will not be knowing at all. So introduce those words in your first video for the storytelling session. Please try to introduce those words as one short video. Make pronounce those words correctly. Help the learners to gain the examples related to those words so that the child is familiar, and then you can just try to show an excitement, saying that, say for example, if it is a story of a lion and the mouse, right? So the let the child develop that, what do you call, interest. I think somebody is like coming and going every time. I could see that, this thing. I'm sorry. That's the reason I'm just done, because my screen is getting disturbed. That's the reason. I'm really very sorry for this. Yeah. Make sure that your learners are gaining that inputs of the vocabulary first, and then at the end of the video, make sure that you're creating an example that is excitement. Now, children, now you know what? Tomorrow teacher is going to talk about, or teacher is going to narrate a story related to the lion and the mouse. And do you know what the lion is going to do now? You wanted to know what the lion is going to what do you call, talk with this mouse? Then listen to, that is, wait for me for tomorrow. So create some excitement after you complete the vocabulary introduction, so that the child will now curiously wait for what the teacher is going to say, and then start narrating the story in a very simple language. It is okay you use the bilingual language, but do not completely go into the local language, right? So make sure that your keywords, that is the vocabularies, whatever you have selected, please try to use it in your story narration so that the child can relate it properly. So in your first stage of storytelling session, please do not, I'm mentioning you the word please, and it means you should not use the teaching aid for the first, that is when you are narrating the story for the first time. Make sure that you are that is, you are narrating the story without using the teaching aids for the first time. The reason is, after introducing the vocabulary, the moment you start narrating the story without the teaching aids and only with your actions and voice modulation, the child will now start imagining. The child will now start relating those vocabularies into your stories. Now, that is the beginning stage for us to help the child to imagine, allowing the child to develop that curiosity, interest, that excitement, that relation between the vocabulary to the actual images in his mind. And then, after creating that excitement through your voice modulation, through your actions, through your expressions, then your third stage of story narration should be using the properties. It can be the puppets, it can be the face mask, it can be directly opening the book and trying to talk about the scene. You can come up with your own set of aids for your third stage of what do you call, story narrations concept. but ensure that the first time when you're dealing with the story narration, please do not use the teaching aids. That is one thing. And one more important thing that you need to take care is when you're narrating the story, right? Whenever there is use your voice modulation according to the character involved in the story. It means, see, just for example, if the story is about the lion and the mouse, you cannot just like that, you cannot just like use a plain voice of if the character lion is talking, or you cannot use a plain voice when the mouse is talking. It means you need to give the, let's say for example, the story of the lion and the mouse, where the mouse was climbing on the lion and the lion suddenly woke up and said, "Hey mouse, why are you disturbing me? I was sleeping, right? Why did you disturb me? Now I'm angry on you." So it means just give the power of the lion by your expressions, by your voice. And if it is a mouse, then you should not say, "Hey lion, why are you scolding me? I just climbed up." You don't need to say like that. The mouse is the smallest. So it means you need to, your voice should be low there. "Hey mouse, hey lion, sorry lion, please, I'm sorry. I don't know that I climbed on you. I thought it is a mountain. I'm sorry." So it means you need to give that modulation according to the character. Do not use that. No. And one more thing is, it is not necessary for you to use the same statements whatever is given in the book, in your course book. The course book printed content is for the teacher and for the parent to understand the story. That's it. So that you elders can narrate it in a simplified version to your learners. Because it is a publication, the book is published and it is going across, the publishers cannot print the child friendly language, and that is the reason you will see the matured content in the book, right? But that matured content is for the elders to understand the story, but the learner's scope should be given for the picture reading. So the pictures, definitely the story books are having the pictures, so help the learners to observe the picture, help the learners to to look into the picture when you are narrating the story. Let them follow the sequence, let them follow the sequence of the story, first, then next, last, when you are narrating, so that the child will now know the logic behind the story, the sequential order behind the story, and then the child will start developing that the tabular properly, the storyboard properly. Now, how are we going to assess the learners? How are we going to assess our learners based on the storytelling technique, right? It means the assessment, see, now the learners are not going to be right in front of you to assess them directly. You need to make the parents understand that assessment of the storytelling is not just rote memorizing the story. That is starting from the first line of the story and pressuring the child to learn every statement. No, not like that. Help the learners, that is, help the parents to understand the story narration is just for understanding capability and comprehending the situation. That's it. And the vocabularies whichever been introduced, allow the child to use those vocabulary the way the child is trying to present. So it means through the questioning skills. Now, what happened one day? Where was the lion sleeping? Who was climbing on the lion? Was the lion happy to see the mouse? Was the mouse enjoying while it was on the lion? What was the mouse doing? So the moment the questions are posed to the child in a sequential order, what will happen? The child will start connecting with the sequence. The child will start at least with the simple sentences, or at least with one or two words, the child is able to give the response. It means the child understood the story. And you can after posing the questions, it means you need to send those questions to the parents. It's not that instructing the parents, make your child to read the story, learn the story by heart. No, please don't send that instructions to the parents. Rather, just send the information to the parents. ask these following questions. Check whether the child is able to respond in a simple words or at least one line. What do you call, based on the questions given. So the child will definitely start following this inputs, and that will show that yes, the child has followed the sequence of the story. And then with regard to the role play, now just you can just give a message saying that ask your child to roar like a lion, ask your child to walk like a lion and pick up the objects around. Make sure that you place some objects and ask your child to walk and roar like a lion and pick up, so that the role play based on the character is being assessed. The same way, if the character is a mouse, ask your child to crawl and go and pick up the objects around. Ask your child to crawl around the living room like a mouse. Imagine, ask him to imagine that he is a mouse. So it means along with the storytelling, where the language development, logical development, and creative development is happening, you are also giving scope for the physical development through the role play activities. Right? So it means your content, your schooling activity is stimulating the different developmental traits like language development, logical development, physical development, creative development. There is a scope if the child is trying to send those videos of his performance. There is a scope that the child is emotionally happy that something he has achieved and sharing. And definitely when the teacher on the online session, when the teacher is trying to communicate, yeah, I saw your actions, you did the action like a lion. I was very happy to see you. So do you want to see how Kaushik so the teacher, when the teacher is trying to share others videos also on the screen, so what will happen? There is a social connection happening. So it means we are trying to complete the overall development scope. It is only how the teacher plans it. The moment the teacher start planning the session in such a way that she has to hit on all the developmental traits, the sessions are going to become beautiful. The sessions are going to become really strong, so that you will see the maximum acceptance by all the parents whom you're dealing with. Right, teachers. So please make sure that you are trying to plan the sessions properly, so that you are hitting on the different traits. Now coming back to the aesthetic development. Now what do you mean by the aesthetic development, and how are we going to hit that aesthetic development every time? It means your positive words, your appreciation, your regular appreciation. The moment you get the evidences from the parent, like say for example, if they are going to send you back the video of the child's performance, be it story, be it rhymes, be it any subject you are trying to, the moment the child is listening to your positive comment, good job beta, wonderful, I was happy to see the way you are expressing. So these positive words are going to help the child to develop that aesthetic feeling. Oh my God, I did a great job today. Teacher has appreciated. So the child will start liking the activities. The child will start liking the schooling task. The child will start appreciating the teacher. The child will start appreciating self, the environment where the child is today. So the moment the child is given that positive scope, everything is going to become wonderful for the child, and the child is not going to miss the schooling part. Right, teachers? So see, I don't want to touch on the techniques and other things. I wanted to touch on the major elements that the teacher has to be careful while narrating the story. It is again the teacher's call and the practice the teacher is going to do for the storytelling session. And one more important thing is, you cannot just say I cannot do the storytelling because I don't know, I'm not comfortable with it. Please practice. And make sure that just try to look into the different videos which are available in the YouTube, or you have so much of your good colleagues who are very good in their language or very good in the story. Now, look into their presentations, try to adopt the techniques, make sure that you are also improving your skills. See, Now it is time for us to improve our skills in multiple areas. We cannot bring the reason saying that this is not possible for me, I can only do this. So please don't do that. As much as possible, try to balance or try to improve your skills, try to balance your time to learn few things, few new skills, so that that is going to improve your profession. Right, teachers? Right, now coming back to the rhyme session. Now, why rhyme is important, and that too, how are we going to make the rhyme session effective through the online and offline or the blended learning experience? How are we going to use this? Whether this is going to help us or not? Yes, definitely, the rhyme session is also one of the important tool which is going to help the learners to develop that alliteration and articulation. Yeah, the mouth positions. So definitely the rhyme session is going to bring in more scope for the child to develop the language. Yes, most of the learners are left brain dominant, what do you call, intelligence or dominant absorption, because they're naturally, most of the learners from 0 to 8 years, they have the left brain dominance. It means the left brain absorption will be language, rhythm, color, sensorial. So this is what we were trying to discuss right from the first day. So rhyme is also one of the important element where the child is going to enjoy the language, enjoy playing with the words, right? So rather than making the child to rote memorize the different statements, like say for example, if I'm talking about the green trees, or if I'm talking about different taste of vegetables, different taste of fruits and other things. So through a rhyme session, I can make all those information possible through a rhythmic sense. So anything which is going in a rhythmic way, the child will start absorbing immediately. There is a scope for quick learning. So rhyme session is going to become a wonderful tool to stimulate the brain to accept the rhythm, so that any other content, any other concept other than the rhyme session, if it is flowing in a rhythmic way, the absorption is going to be fast. See, even for the numbers, number names, if I say ONE1, TWO2, THREE3, FOUR4, FIVE5, SIX6. So what will happen if the teacher is going to give a rhythmic for, instead of teaching ONE1, come on, repeat children, ONE1, TWO2. The child is not going to enjoy that. The child is not going to learn. So please, teachers, make sure that we are giving the scope for the learners to develop that interest of the different concepts or the different words or the different vocabularies through a rhythmic approach. Yes, coming back to the rhyme again. Yes, the rhyme is not just one or two lines. It is going to definitely have more than 5 lines. Every rhyme will at least have 4 to 5 lines, and you cannot expect the child to rote memorize just being because the child's brain cannot accept the just a rote memory of saying the statements. They are not the same. They are not the statements. They are the rhythm. They are they are the scope for alliteration. So make sure that you are helping the learners to develop that alliteration using the rhythm there. So it means after selecting, yes, this is the rhyme I'm going to deal with for this particular week. So it means beforehand you will be either sending the link to all your parents and instruct the parents to play that rhyme once, twice, thrice, right? And help the learners to listen. See, for those learners who doesn't have the Android mobile, because I'm getting I saw few of the messages, even father was sharing the message. Now how to help the learners who don't have whose economical condition is very bad, or who doesn't have the basic now. See, for them, definitely we can help, we can do wonders. The reason is, see, maintaining the social distance, can't we ask them to come to our school premises once in a week? Can't we ask them to come address, or a phone call away, so the teacher can invest time to call the child and try to talk with the child, or try to see those children and make the parents understand. And if the parents are uneducated, at least ask them to take care of the safety of the child and bring the child. So with the social distancing, if the school is going to support with the proper sanitizing and other things, and allow the child to sit and the teacher demonstrating, maintaining that social distance, right? Definitely, those things which are missed. See, I'm not asking you to have the sessions daily for those learners, at least weekly twice or weekly once, if you can invite them to the school, and teacher helping the child, delivering the concepts and giving some sort of an assignments, so that the child is bringing back for the next time, and giving scope. Might be if if the parent is not having anything for the child to play or show or nothing. See, definitely today's environment, we cannot just say that parents don't have anything, otherwise even education is not possible for them. So it means the way we motivate them, the way we try to counsel them, should make them take some positive efforts to improve their economic condition by doing some extra work, or trying to save something, so that they are supporting education for their child. If they keep on thinking about they don't have economic proper economic condition, and they can't see, today everybody should move forward. So the way we help them, the way we motivate them, the way we try to communicate them, making them to understand the importance of education, and making them to understand, yes, please bring your child to the school, I will support. Give that confidence, give that assurance, give them the trust that you are there to take care of the child, right? So that will help us to at least stay connected with the child, and make sure that the child is not missing education. At least something is better than nothing. That's what I can say. Yeah, coming back to the rhyme session again, make sure that we are sending the rhyme videos or the links, so that the child is listening to the rhyme video, or that is the rhythm, so that the child is now familiar. Now during your recorded session, now what are you supposed to do? Make sure that you are again playing the rhyme at the beginning of the session, and now pick up those vocabularies, pick up the vocabularies which are there in the rhyme, and try to pronounce it clearly. Please pronounce it really strong, so that the child is able to repeat after you. The child is able to observe your lip movement, the child is able to follow your alliteration and articulation, right? And then it is going to help the child to improve his understanding, to use the same vocabulary when he is pronouncing, when he is trying to recite the rhyme in the later stage. So make sure that you pick up the vocabularies from the rhyme and stress on those vocabularies with the proper voice modulation. So that should be your first exercise. The second exercise is, you will be reciting the rhyme line by line. Give a pause for every line and allow the child to sing along with you, recite along with you. That should be your second exercise. The third exercise should be, now you will be reciting at least two lines together, and give a pause, let them. And if it is a meeting window where you're going to meet your learners, the small group of learners, then call out the words. Now Kaushik, Anirudh, Srinidhi, come on, you are going to sing along with teacher. The rest of the children are going to listen now. So when you call them, what happens? Now you will know where they made mistake, which words they are not clear with, which words they are not able to pronounce properly. So you can pick it up and you can correct it immediately. Got my point? So these type of exercise will help us to develop that alliteration and the language skills, and they will pick up speed and talking. The rhyme session is the only tool for us to help the learners to improve the speed while talking, while they communicate. They use the proper words and statements in a rhythmic way or in a proper way through the rhyme session. So make sure that you are helping all your learners with the proper hand holding or proper scaffolding by allowing the learners to pronounce it properly and sing along with them during your meeting session, right? And then you can everybody together, you can sing along. They are sitting that side and you are sitting, and your actions, voice modulation, everything should go simultaneously so that the children are copying you. Right now, if we are not going to do this exercise, if we are just allowing the child to listen only to the rhyme link and you are doing nothing, just if at all, if that is going to happen, now what is the reaction or what is the response? And yes, the child will be enjoying the rhythm, the child will be, but the pronunciation of the rhyme words or the rhyme vocabulary will not happen at all. So that is the reason most of the cases you will see the children, when you're teaching the, say for example, the rhyme baba, black sheep and other things. Now the child, the other side will be just baba, black sheep, wo you wool. That's how the child will be singing now. The reason is the child is not trained properly to pronounce. So have you any wool? Wo you? For him, he is able to listen only wo you wool. And when are you going to check this? Only at the time of assessment, you will say this child is not able to pronounce properly, this child is not able to say the words properly in the rhyme. So was it the child's mistake or was it the elder's mistake? Definitely I would say it was elder's mistake that the child was not able to recite the rhyme properly. The reason is the child is not being trained to pronounce the words. So let's not do that mistake. Make sure that your learners are given maximum scope to improve their vocabulary through your continuous hand holding of pronunciation. Allow them to respond after you. So that would be the wonderful session, so that the child will develop the rhythm. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Tanta, tanta, tanta. Jack and Jill. Jack. Say the word Jack, children. Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Went. Can you say the word went? Up the hill. Hill. Jack fell down. Jack fell down. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and broke his crown. Broke his crown. Can we say the word crown? So make the learners to stress on the vocabulary. That will definitely help the learners to just enjoy the rhyme session. Because why I'm using the word enjoy, the reason is, see, even for us, how do we learn the songs? We must be learning songs, might be a religious song or the movie, anything. How do we learn? How do we show interest? Until unless we first listen, enjoy the rhythm, and slowly we will start entering into the vocabularies, and we will start practicing the vocabularies line by line. And then, so the same exercise we have to do for our rhyme sessions also, so that when the child is reciting the rhyme with full confidence, with the full understanding, or with full usage of the words, the child will definitely develop the confidence, and thereby you will see there is a emotional development taking place, aesthetic development taking place. The child will definitely go positive, will not feel stress at all, and you will see that the child will improve that confidence in speaking when you train these rhymes, that is the rhymes which are given in the book, in a systematic, using the systematic procedures. Yes, teachers, now it's time for us to get into the question. Any questions we have, so that we can start clearing our doubts.
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, in nursery class, means from, as you told, lowercase, from lowercase letter we have to start. So
Yeah.
in nursery class means we can go to both the capital and small letters, or
See, that's what teacher. The reason why I stressed on the lower cases, the moment the child start observing these, see, we only focus on the lines. That is, teaching letter A is easy because slanting line, and sleeping line. But where is a child seeing these words? Definitely not. The child will not connect these letters in the real life situation at the beginning stage. The moment, and one more thing is, the child cannot, what do you call, the child's brain is more tuned with the curves rather than the lines, right? So small letters are the natural curved letters. So it is important that you make the learners to, when you are making the that is the nursery learners to write, focus on small letters. But when you are making them to read another thing, you can have the alphabet freeze. You can use the alphabet freeze method, where or both the case letters, like uppercase and lowercase together, you can show them, so that they will know, okay, both has the same sound. This is mama A and the baby A. Now we are going to write the baby A now. So give them the delivery properly. Let them know both has now. So automatically the child will start. See, now if I can you all write this? Just look at this. Just write this. Try writing this. If you have tried it, it means your fine muscle is strong. Nobody taught you how to write. It means the moment you start using your directions, the moment the brain know the pattern or have the fine muscle development grip, any letters that are shown or any symbols that are shown will be automatically traced or automatically. So the moment the child is given scope in his environment, both uppercase and the lowercase, so the child's target is to write the lowercase. The child the child is also observing the uppercase in his environment, right? So the writing uppercase will become easy in the later stage. That's what I can say. Yeah.
okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Say any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes it is very difficult for a teacher to grab and retain the attention of children for long.
Right. Okay. The reason is, might be teacher is not showing any variety. Teacher is just having a blank same. Every human brain needs some sort of a different change. Now, say for example, in the online class, you can just ask the child to what do you call, some instead of having a routine. Now every time you will in your video session or in your online session, you can just say, now come on, today just bring your pillow. Now imagine that it is your teddy. Now you're going to hug your teddy and you're going to sit along with your teddy. You're not demanding a teddy bear to come and sit. You're just asking, come on, take your pillow, come hug. So every time if you start what do you call, changing the pattern. Now today let's just make sure that you're going to sit on the floor for another 5 minutes to listen to what teacher is going to say. So it means every now and then, if you start diverting the child's mind with some sort of an engagement and then connect with the concept, then you will see little bit of connectivity, and you will see that the child is more focused on what you're saying. Something which the child is able to do, something which the child can be independent, so that you will gain that concentration from the child and you will stand. So it means every time, and the more you are using the rhythmic, funny expressions, voice modulation, all these things will attract the child. So it means you need to practice more on alliteration, articulation, expressions, modulation of your voice and other things. Yes, teacher?
Ma'am, is it harder for left-handed children to learn to write, or because left-sided more dominant, or do lefties learn differently?
No. See, actually speaking, this is actually a very important question. See, those children who are born right brain dominant, right from their childhood, that is right from their birth, if they are right brain dominant, so it means it is a cross where their part of their body is more active. So it means they are the left-handers and they are more logical. The left part of the brain is more what do you call rhythm, colors, sensorial, and language absorption. The right part of the brain is more of logical, creative, and other things. So the left brain people always, that is the right brain people who are the left-handers, uh, are always in a logical sense. For them, they get connected. They are very reserved. They are much into the conceptual understanding. They wanted everything in a sequential pattern. Until unless they are thorough in their understanding, they don't go forward. So sometimes we feel that the left-handers are sometimes slow learners. No, they are very good in observing. So they want something, they will wait for the complete clarity. And once they learn it, they are very strong. Right? And these left-handers are, actually speaking, they are the gifted learners who have the power of observing capability. Only thing is the environment need to give a stimulation, proper stimulation with the instructions. And these left-handers, they always connect with something different. Now, if you say don't do it, they will do it. So they are always a reverse part, but they know the purpose, that if you're not doing it, this is the cause. If you're doing it, this is what is affect. They know that, but still they do the opposite. So that's what is their mindset. So it is not difficult to handle the left-handers. It is very easy, provided if the teacher is dealing with the child properly and giving a proper instruction, proper hand holding, so that it is one time. You need not spend so much of time. Your quality investment of your time with that left-hander is going to be a lifelong learning for them. So the child will never forget. So these children have a very good memory power also. Yeah. So
Yes, ma'am.
hope you
And
understood.
sometimes teachers have to face invisible disability in a child and no support from the parent side.
Hmm. So it means after finding these type of problems, now start counseling the parents, because sometimes parents don't accept that your child is having the discipline. So do not try to make that is do not tell the parent that your child is having the difficulty, so you need to take care. No parent is ready to accept that. Rather, you tell the child is good in this, but the child has to improve in this. The child needs some time to do this. So we both can help the child by doing this exercise. So you take your time whenever it is possible. Try to monitor these things, if the child is using it or not. Let me also take. So it means if you start communicating with the parent in a positive way by telling that what is it. See, definitely even some abnormal child or some, the child must be good in something. Either the child is calm, either the child is trying to observe something, right? So it means start talking with the parents something positive about the child. Then slowly try to say, yes, the child is very good in this. I'm really very happy. But for this activity, for these type of tasks, the child needs support. So let you and me together invest some time. So the way you counsel the parent is matters a lot. So try to understand what the child is good at. First point out that, and then you try to pick up the other elements what the child has to improve, and counsel the parent in such a way that you and the parent together has to invest quality time to support the child. The more you try to talk and counsel the parents, the more the child is going to get benefit. Right, teacher? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Anything else?
Ma'am,
Yes.
good morning. I'm Father John speaking,
Yes, Father.
MGM Public School. Can you hear me?
Yes, Father, I could.
Just hearing your class. So, the days,
Father,
30
I
or
think your voice is
31st,
feeble, Father.
ma'am, we have an average of 35 to 40 students in a class.
Okay, Father.
So, the wonderful method you have been telling us to make it practical throughout the year and to complete the course, not to find it troublesome. Because if we go with each and every child to do the course in the way that you have made us understand,
Yes.
so maybe we will find it hard to complete the course. So how can we do it? How do you feel?
As I said in the beginning, we had a very wonderful days, and today it was awesome again. As usual, thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank you, Father. Thanks
Uh,
for the wonderful opportunity.
and I also want to appreciate our participants, our dear teachers, as well as principals. See, this was first time that we such webinars, and I appreciate that after the first demo session, from day one, everyone was attending very attentively, and they learned the technicalities. They learned how to and not to disturb the class between. So it was wonderful consideration. People have joined in from various parts of our country. I mean, people from 10 states and even 2 or 3 from outside India also joined. So it was a wonderful session. And I also appreciate the punctuality that you have shown when we said we need to start by 10. I think 90% of the participants were online by that time. Dear teachers, as Rajeshri ma'am has given the need analysis matrix last time during the principals meet, and I have shared a format for that. And most of the schools have started implementing that need analysis matrix by the end of last year, to the last session. So I urge you to rework on that as soon as the school reopen. Please use the need analysis matrix. You can continue from where you have stopped for last session. Update that and make the need analysis matrix for the new kids who are coming to join our. And another announcement to the principals and the vice presidents, education secretaries, and the managers of other schools who are joined. After this session at 11:45, we would be having a demo session for our eighth meeting on principals' role on post-COVID challenges. And again, we have some other webinars for other teachers. On 10, we have an webinar for English language teaching, and 13 for the heads of the institutions, 15 for the social science teachers, 16 for science teachers, and 17 for maths teachers. I will update both those things again later. Dear teachers, you can come with questions.
Students in our classes using wonderful teaching method and completing the syllabus to be impractical. Please suggest. Father, today in this condition, what we are now placed with, let's not target on completing the portions, especially for the pre-primary. See, allowing a pre-primary learners to get that education, what do you call, environment itself, it is something great, if you can say. Providing them that learning opportunity itself, it is a very important thing. So rather than we focusing on what do you call, completing the syllabus or something like that, let's rework on the year-long syllabus. Rather than, if the book content is having this much, make sure that whatever is important, whatever concept you feel that it is important, is, say for example, for a nursery child, for an LKG learners, for the UKG children, to meet for them to meet the next class the basic inputs. Let's focus on those much of elements alone, and let's make sure that we are perfect in giving that multiple exercises based on that concept, so that the child is thorough, the child is confident, so that when he moves to the next class, the child is now confident. Yes, the child is having the base of that. So let's focus on only the targeted portion rather than completing the entire syllabus. Now, completing the syllabus should not be our criteria. That's what is my suggestion, if you agree for that. Because today, allowing the learners to have that, what do you call, the pre-primary education, and helping the learners to enjoy the environment which is supporting some sort of a learning is more than enough, rather than we focusing on do only this, complete this by this time, so that we have to move to the next. No, don't give that situation for the learners. Hope I addressed it. So, dear educators, yeah, thank you so much for all the lovely participation, and I was really overwhelmed to see the numbers there, because this is a wonderful opportunity where I have to thank Father Joshi for organizing this webinar, because it's not a small thing what is happening or what happened for the past 4 days. Because see, getting connected with these many people, sharing these many ideas, and reflecting on what we have to do for our young learners is not a small task. That happened in a span of 4 days. We all learned together something very important, what best we can give for others. Yeah. So here the only mantra what we have to follow is accept the change, accept the new normal, and start investing your time in adopting the new skills. The more you start inventing new skills, the more you are trying to bring in innovative ideas to make your session beautiful. Nothing like that. Everything will be going great, and you will become the strong pillars for your institutions. The moment the people, that is your parent or your parent community, start talking about your school, they should think about the teacher. They should think about the teacher's effort. They should talk about the teacher's beautiful way of transacting and communicating and supporting the child. They should respect you. Your respect should elevate it. All these things will happen the way you start implementing, or the way you start penning your sessions. So make sure that you are trying to create change patterns in your school, in your organization, so that you are becoming a great reason for your organization success. So it all depends upon how you try to transact. That's all. Thank you so much for all the wonderful people who are listening to me. Thank you.
Now we would be having Lutumbeni Izum from MGM Dimapur to share the experience of online teaching.
I'm Lutumbeni Izum. Teachers upload all the activities like giving the students notes, and also self-explanation videos and audio recorded explanations and video links to the students, and also all the necessary informations are updated through these modes. Yeah, our principal always comes up with an innovative ideas to ensure systematic teaching and also learning process. Under his assistant teachers, we have identified students those who are in lower economic strata, and in collaboration with St. Thomas Mission Society Dimapur, free food kits are provided to the students and also to the needy families. Yeah, it is true. God's blessings and also our principal tireless effort that the system of ongoing online class is going smoothly. And yeah, lastly, I would like to thank Father Dr. Joshi Verkes and also MGM Group of Institute for organizing this wonderful session, and also not forgetting Ma'am Rajeshwari, yeah, for such an amazing and motivational session. Yeah, thank you so much. We will surely follow the techniques which you have taught us. Yeah. May God bless you, and also, yeah, thank you everyone. Stay safe. Thank you. In lower economic strata, and in collaboration with St. Thomas Mission Society Dimapur, free food kits are provided to the students and also to the needy families. Yeah, it is through God's blessings and also our principal tireless effort that the system of ongoing online class is going smoothly. And yeah, lastly, I would like to thank Father Dr. Joshi Varkes and also MGM Group of Institute for organizing this wonderful session, and also not forgetting Ma'am Rajeshwari, yeah, for such an amazing and motivational session. Yeah, thank you so much. We will surely follow the techniques which you have taught us. Yeah, may God bless you, and also, yeah, thank you everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Lutunbini. Thank you for your presentation. And since Rajeshri ma'am has to attend another webinar at 11:30, she may not be able to take more questions now, but the questions which have been posted here would be answered by her in our pre-primary group later. Now, I request Georgina Tays, madam, who is in charge of Danpuri MGM, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Father. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, please.
A very warm and graceful morning to our Honorable Bishop, Dr. Joseph Mar Dionysius, Director and President of MGM Group of Schools. Respected Raja Rajeshwari ma'am, our mentor, educator, and good motivator. Reverend Dr. Joshi Varghese, Diocesan Education Officer, MGM Group of Schools. All Reverend Fathers, Vice Presidents, Principals, and all teacher participants of different schools. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks on the end of this webinar. I, Georgina, on behalf of MGM Group of Institution, first of all, I extend my heartiest and sincere thanks to Almighty God. On my own behalf, I extend a very hearty thanks to the head office for arranging this webinar for us, especially during this pandemic. I would like to convey my heartiest thanks to our mentor, Rajeshwari ma'am, for her wonderful, enormous and endless efforts. Ma'am, your ideas, your presentations, your skill, and especially the style of explanation really encouraged and enhanced the ability of every participant.
Thank you.
Even which you observed during the time of the sessions, how teachers were excited to do the activities, and by the review even and feedback of the learners through our WhatsApp group. Last year, when I attended your seminar at Bhilai, I wished that how better it is if my all staff members could attend this. But I know that it was very difficult and impossible, but I prayed. Now, during this COVID-19 pandemic, I realized that God has listened my prayer and arranged and provided such wonderful webinar for all of us, especially for the pre-primary and all primary groups. At this time, I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our DEO, Reverend Dr. Joshi Varghese, who accepted my request and permitted to participate my all primary wing teachers to register for this webinar. At this time, I would like to convey my thanks to entire technical team, by whom endless effort we are able to enjoy this session without any disturbance. Last but not the least, I would like to convey my heartiest thanks to all the participants. 245 is not a small number. I would like to request you all as now webinar is over, but now it's your time to create the difference, to explore your new innovative ideas with your young ones who are really missing you and waiting for you. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful and blessed day ahead. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again to Rajeshri, ma'am. And I take
you,
this
Father.
opportunity to thank our manager, Bishop, as well as all the members of the Diocesan Mission Education Board, and also all the principals, the vice president, the teachers, and the principals and staff who are from outside our group. They have also joined, and especially I would mention Mr. Alok, who was associating with us to help us to have this seminar from Macmillan Publications. Thank you for your support and making this webinar a successful one. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
And
Macmillan.
let's have a wonderful session ahead, both offline and online in our schools.